The mailers. So typically when we get the mailers, I'm about halfway done. So bear with me, you guys. But let's jump into mailers. Mailer source. One thing about mailers, we've made a lot of money from mailers. They absolutely work, and we've spent a lot of money and lost a lot of money from mailers as well. And when I say that, is because we weren't consistent enough. My brother bought his homestead with mailers, which was a house that appreciated, I think, $100,000. No, not 100. $90,000 to $80,000 in DFW in 2 years. Right, he was able to sell it as is. Then you have to worry about it and walk away with a pretty good check on that deal and tax free. Put on top of that with the tax laws that's in effect for Texas. But mailers work. If there's one form of marketing that scaled a ton of companies, I wouldn't say today, but in this business period, it has to be mailers. It has to be mailers. It's the one thing that's been allowing a lot of people to make a lot of money for a long period of time. But the biggest thing about mailer, you got to be consistent. So let's jump right into it. The mailer sources. Who can I get to send mailers for me? Yellow Letter HQ, REI Pro, yellowletter.com. Deal Machine is actually a company that I used. Don't use them right now, but it's a company that I use for sending out mail. They're a little bit more expensive, but they are out there that you can use. So Yellow Letter HQ, REI Pro, yellowletter.com, and Deal Machine. Types of letters. So make sure you understand this. There's professional letters, basically meaning like a bill in the mail, right? There's a bill. There's handwritten letters, somebody more personable, right? More likely to get open. It's going to cost a little bit more, but more likely to get open, and it works. Postcards, going to be very, very inexpensive. They're typically 4x6 postcards that go out. Typically the ones we send is postcards with the actual Google image on them, or we'll send out postcards with the third notice, a default on it. So, or third and final notice, a little pink postcard. But both of those higher return rates. They render higher return rates. So that's one thing I'll look at postcards. Checks. Hey, checks are awesome. They cost a little bit more. But how many of you guys have, by show of hands, and you can let me know, how many of you guys have actually opened up a check that you thought, hey, I don't know about you guys. I've opened it in the mail, right? Hey, my God's in the blessing business. I don't know. This could be the one. This could be the one, right? So that's one thing I always look at. Stuffed mail, another great one. I can tell you guys an example of it. And I think I fell for this every time. Comes in a professional envelope, and it's stuffed mail. It's like a credit card, right? Credit card companies put their credit card inside that mail, so you're more likely to open it. How many of you guys got that, right? I know you guys have gotten it. Another thing is mail invitations. Invitation style. So it's more like a wedding, like a greeting type, or Christmas cards, send them around Christmas, or any big time holiday where cards are being sent out. But those are the different types of mailers. But it works. It works for every business. How many of you guys are still getting mailers from Bed Bath and Beyond? Right? They've been sending the same mailer every year. And we are still getting them. They gotta let you know that it's return in it. They're making money from it. How many times you guys go there? You guys only go there when you get the mailer, right? When you only because for me the store, well, before when I was years ago, it used to be that place is expensive, right? So we only go when we get the coupon. That's how my household was, right? We only go when we get the coupon. So it still works. It still works. Track record, DFW market responds well to mailers. The only time mailers do not work is when you don't send them consistently. And I'm about to get in there right now. Consistency. Mail at least 6 times to whoever you're targeting to. So if you got a list of 1,000, don't tell me mailers aren't working when you only sent out 1,000 letters to that list of 1,000 once, right? Don't tell me it's not working because you haven't done enough, right? It's a study out there that it take at least 6 times for the consumer, 6 or 7 times for the consumer to see your logo, for them to build brand awareness, for them to feel comfortable with it. So if you send it once, yeah, you sent it once, but I don't really know where this from. You might be a scammer. Let me get it out of here. To give you a story, we got a house out in South Dallas off of Lark Ridge. We actually bought 2 houses on the street. We got a door knocking pre-foreclosure, and then while we was door knocking it, my brother rolled by and he noticed a vacant house. We put it in the deal machine. We started marketing to this person consistently every 21 days. Another mailer went out, and they got another piece of mail from us. Long story short, we closed that deal, made $21,000. When we went back and seen where that deal came from, we was like, it came from a mailer. Let's look it up. We went to deal machine. We said, man, how many times did we actually mail to this particular client? We mailed to them 12 times before they finally called us and gave us a $21,000 check, right? Because that's essentially what we made on the wholesale. We made $21,000 from that deal, but we mailed them 12 times. This is the best part, I would say, about outsourcing mail, is that when you outsource it, all you do is pay the bill. When you pay the bill, what that take away your mental. My mental is the biggest problem, right? I say that because if I'm sending mail every month, and I know I'm sending mail every month, if they haven't responded by the 7th, 8th time, you know what? Everybody that wanted to sell, they're gone. They're not in this list anymore. Everybody that wanted to sell already called me, right? But when you just paying the bill, now you get to that 9th time. Now you get to that 10th time, that 11th time, that 12th time, what it's going to take to get the deal. That's the most important thing. You're just spending the money. That's all you're doing, just spending the money. And before you know it, boom, you get a big deal from it. And you say, wow, this finally works. But until you get to that point, it's kind of, you have those mental blocks saying, man, you know what? They would have reached out to me if they wanted to sell. But this guy thought we was a scam, and he thought all the mail he had ever got was a scam. So it took him 12 times seeing the exact same postcard over and over and over, with that postcard coming to the house and always there. It took him that many times to actually say, man, let me just pick up the phone call. Literally, when we got the contract and gave him option money, they thought we had scammed them out of the house. They thought we had bought the house for $10, right? I thought they was going to cancel on us. But we ended up getting that deal. But it comes down to brand awareness. Keep sending it until that homeowner is comfortable with you actually and calling you. But one thing about mailers, typically when they call you, either they are fired up, which is a good thing, mean you're on the pain list, right? That means you're on a distress. They're going through some things. They're fired up. They're cussing you out, or they're ready to go. It's an active form of marketing, so it's very easy to close mailer leads because they've tired of messing with investors that can't close. They're ready to sell this particular house. So you got that.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So say you're dealing with the pre-foreclosure list.
Okay.
Do you need to get them to see your logo 6 times before that 30-day?
No, not really. I wouldn't necessarily mail to the pre-foreclosure list. They get a ton of mail, but the pre-foreclosure list is so competitive. I would rather get in front of that door and knock it, or maybe cold call, text, RVM, do something simple and quicker and faster, because if you mail to them, you really don't have the time frame to mail to them 6 times, right? I mean, pre-foreclosure, you got what?
Right.
A couple of weeks before you know it, 3, 4, 5 weeks if you're lucky. And you really don't have the time to send out that much mail. I would mail to them, but I would maybe mail twice, and then maybe compound my efforts with door knocking and handwritten letters when I leave the door knock, and then maybe some different things. But I would definitely do a little bit more with pre-foreclosures for sure. I got a couple of questions over here. I go then forget about the coupon. I guess that's the Bed Bath & Beyond. Who do you use to outsource mail again, please, the mail? So with the mail, I use Yellow Letter HQ. Yellow Letter HQ is who I mail. That's why I use to outsource the mail. The best part about it is they got automatic systems. So they'll remind you, hey, you haven't hit this list in a while. Do you want to go ahead and send mail? And boom, you click a link and you'll go ahead and pay for it, and they'll send it out. So that's one thing, to keep it automated and just keep you fresh on what you need to do while paying and getting stuff done that needs to be done, right? During COVID, which form of marketing did you receive the best response? Facebook was really good. Facebook marketing, we're going to dive into it. Cold calling, because a lot of people's home. Text message, a lot of people home. Really, any form of marketing is not one that's just outdoing the other one. It's just whichever one you're consistently doing. That's really the secret, just being consistent and putting in the action that it takes to make money. But all of them work. All of them work during COVID. But like I said, text message is always a good one. I honestly don't believe any form of marketing that I'm going to teach you is seasonal. I don't believe in anything being seasonal. I think all of this works now. You just got to put the right consistent effort and action in behind it. But all of this works right now, regardless if it's COVID, regardless, whatever the case may be, it works right now. Open rate with mailers is 24%. My goodness, that tells me a story. 24%, and 1 out of 4 is gonna open that mail. So how many people you got to get to open it to actually call you back, right? It's a 1% response rate. So if you send out 1,000 postcards, you're lucky. They say a 1%. Typically, it's less than that. You're lucky if you get 10 calls back. You're lucky if you get 10 calls back. Now, the 5 or 6 that you may get, hey, I'm pretty sure they're going to return and they're going to want to sell that house, or they're going to be somewhat interested. That's the best part about it. But you're not going to get a lot of phone calls with mailers. So don't think that it's not working. It's just a part of the game. You got to keep sending them, keep sending them, keep sending them. Whatever you do, stick with it and be committed. Don't make my mistake. When I first got started, we started making money in real estate. Was like, man, let's automate it. Let's send out a ton of mail. We sent out a ton of mail, and I think we sent out 16,000 pieces at once. And with that being said, we spent a lot of money, but we didn't have that budget for the next 6 months to keep it going, right? So don't bite off as much as you can chew, and look at your budget for the next 6 months. And then once you start getting consistently good, start spending a little bit more money on it when you can kind of know the return and what it's looking like. Is it scalable? Definitely scalable, because all these companies I just named for you do the work for you. What you don't do with a mailer, never put a website on the mailer. It lowers the response rate. So if you got your www at queensbuyhouses.com, boom, they're going to go to the website instead of calling you. And that's going to lower your response rate. And if they get to the website and don't like what they see there, boom, they're never going to call you. But if you'd have never put their website on there, they'd have called you, and then you had opportunity to sell that person or present whatever you want to present to it. So I leave with this golden nugget for this is going to be text to get an instant cash offer, which is huge. Text to get an instant cash offer. This does 2 things. This makes them more comfortable, because 90% of the people out there would rather text you than talk on the phone, right? Especially somebody they don't know. They'd rather text you than talk on the phone. And it allows you to be now compliant with them. So before, if they didn't opt into your text message, as soon as they respond to get that cash offer, now they've opted into your marketing campaign. So now you can text them over and over and over and never be out of compliance with it. So that's a good thing. And then the next one is PS. Don't forget to call. Make sure you keep that call to action on the end of that postcard. When they read through it, they understand what you do. Make sure you do not forget to give them a call of action. And that's, hey, call me. I did all this nice stuff. I paid this money. Have it sent to you. I paid for the mailer or the stamp. How about you give me a call now? I've done my job. Give me a call. So make sure you get that call to action. Keep that up there. So we got that. Let's look at this. Questions over here. Do you have to keep all this forever? I guess when you get successful, then you outsource it all. Yeah, so that's the goal. You got to get started, right? You got to get started. Everybody got to start somewhere. And initially, the only thing that can start us and get us rolling in the right direction is action, hustle. Those things cannot be replaced. But once you start making, maybe you got $30,000, $40,000 in the bank, and you want to actually make a business. At that point, that's when you actually start. Hiring out and outsourcing a lot of it. Some of that stuff can be taken off your back, like cold calling. You don't have to cold call forever. If you got your deal, man, go hire some cold callers. Go train them up and keep those leads coming in. That's a cheaper way of doing it. You can have a cold call, or you can have a VA on your text message, very cheap. You can have those VAs answering RVMs, very cheap, right? These are some ways that you can outsource it and not spend a whole heck of a lot of money. But it's not ever a forever thing. We want to get out of that trap so we can actually start getting some of the time back. We want to start creating a business. That's why it's very important that you document what you do. And you understand, you automate it, you put it in the system, and then you outsource it. That way you got a true business. They know exactly what to do. My VAs, I take a lot off their plate. And initially I tried to make them do everything. But now it's to a point where, hey, let's take a lot off their plate. Let's have them come in and do 1 or 2 things, and that's it. So they don't have to ask me, what are we doing today? They're asking me, okay, where's my list? I know I'm supposed to upload my list today. Where's the data? Right? They're asking me questions like, I need to get started. My job is starting. Not, hey, where's Jordan? Or, hey, is he late? Or whatever the case may be. You want to make it so simple that they know exactly what they're supposed to do. And regardless what we get, they come in focused, ready to go. Because they know the expectations. So that's one of the biggest things when you're talking about scaling. But yeah, it will allow you freedom. It's just initial. You got to put in the meat grinder, right? You got to kill the cow to get to the steak. So you got to go through a lot of stuff to end up getting what you want. But essentially, you got to put in some work up front in order to be able to gain traction and then keep momentum going. It's a process. So you wouldn't list your company name either? So they'll get that from so they can't Google it. No, on a mailer, I wouldn't list the company name on the mailer as well. I'll just keep it. Hey, try to keep it mom and pop shop. Maybe you put a picture of you, the husband and the dog, or something like that. Something keep it personable. But as far as the mailer, no, I wouldn't put my company name on it. I just want them to see me enough or hear the name. Hey, my name is Josh. That's typically what we had on our mailers. That's my twin brother name, and that's what we roll with. So I answered the phone. Hey, this is Josh. But I wanted to sound more personable. I didn't want to sound like a big business. Big business in real estate, for whatever reason, don't go well. Big businesses think logical, where in this we're emotional, and in order to be emotional and vulnerable with me, I need to be like a person, not a big company. So I would rather be more personal than anything else. Another question: there are some hot leads that you have to say no to. Are there hot leads that you have to say no to? For instance, if the person is unreasonable, but you spent so much money to get them to that point of a hot lead, do you make it work? Do you see that the hot lead is loyal to you purchasing the property, or do they just stop the negotiations and feel that they can get with what they want elsewhere? Is there a hot lead? No, so when we're talking about hot leads, typically hot leads are people that want to sign and go with us right now. I've probably closed 90% of them. I wouldn't say I've let any hot leads go unless it was just a number that I couldn't get. And then at that point, it's not really a hot lead. It's a non-motivated person. Their prices outweighing circumstances for them. So I want the people that's circumstances outweighing price. That's the biggest thing. So on that note, I would definitely say no. 90% of the people we deal with, man, shoot, when they're hot leads, they're like, there's all we got to do is go sign a paper. We don't really have to negotiate, right? Had the example, my biggest deal we hit for $72,000 out in Rowlett, right off the water. And that was a wholesale. And that guy just wanted out. He was going through a divorce. Leg was being amputated. Just got diagnosed with diabetes. The wife he saw through cancer. Now was divorcing him. Now he's sick, right? So that guy just wanted out. And he was willing to take less for it because he knew he was splitting the money with his wife. So he was willing to see her fall more than him get the most amount of money, right? Though that's a hot lead. We literally got that house under contract. He called on a Sunday at maybe 10. We had the house under contract with both husband and wife signed by 5 that evening, and literally had it wholesale the next day for $72,000. Or wholesale, when I say we had a $72,000 assignment fee the next day by 1 o'clock. So that was the quickest deal we ever did. And then another deal did it out in Grapevine. Lady said she wanted $15,000. I knew her number. I hit it a little higher just because I wanted her to. She went through some things. I wanted her to make some money on it. She ended up walking away with $60,000. We ended up finding a buyer that paid me $51,000. That's a hot lead. She told me the number. Typically, when they tell you the number, that's a very hot lead, and those people, it's kind of hard to run away from them. They want to do business with you. Wow, that's the kind of deal I need. Hey, you put in the hustle. I promise you, it's coming. I promise you, it's coming. There's deals like that happening every day. And if you want a big deal, this is one thing a lot of people teach. They tell you to go to the rougher neighborhoods. I don't tell you to go to the rough neighborhoods because it's hard to make a lot of money on a house that don't cost a lot, right? If it's going to be worth $100,000, there's only so much spread in that thing. But if it's worth $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, now we can start making some profits on them. The one in Grapevine was worth $250,000, so it wasn't very expensive. We got it for $160,000. Found a buyer that bought it for $210,000. Right? The lady ended up walking away with $60,000. She originally only wanted $15,000. So I know I could have wrote up that contract and just said guaranteed $15,000 to sell her, and she probably would have signed, right? But I made sure it was a win for her. She walked away with 60. I walked away with 51. 51, and shoot, we kept rocking and rolling. So it's happening every day. You got to make sure your market dictates that too. I would definitely say those type of deals are more typical in DFW, Austin area, whereas Houston, San Antonio are more like base hit markets. So base hit meaning the houses aren't as expensive. They typically sell, and you typically walk away with $15,000 on those particular type of deals. But in the Dallas market, so you can get $20,000, $30,000 all day long because the buyers want this property because it's appreciating, it's going up in value, it's more expensive, right? So that's one good thing about being in an expensive market. It costs more to get a deal, but when you get one, there you go. You got opportunity to make a lot of money on it. So that's the best part. So when I get in the mailers, I got $3 signs because you got to look at it for 6 months. It's not $500 right now. It's 6 months. Denton County. What about Denton County? If you're talking about it, can you make money in Denton County? Yes. Yes, you can make money in Denton County.
10,000?
You say what?
About 10,000?
Yeah, you should make more than that. If DFW, period, you should make more. Your average assignment fee should be more than that. It should probably be around $17,000, $18,000.
All right. Thank you.
No problem. Some of you guys getting excited, huh? I love it. I love it. So let's go into the next slide. So I want to talk a little bit more about mailers. Obviously, we're kind of pressed for time right now. So I'm just going to skip this. But what this is this YouTube link right here. I'll pull it up. Should I? I don't know if I'll be able to get back out of it. But this YouTube link is just teaching you how to mail merge. You can write that down, mail merge. If you're going to do your mailers yourself, you can create your own font, which make it like somewhat handwritten, right? So handwritten letters, typically if you outsource them, it costs them $1 a letter. If you handwritten yourself, it's more like 60, 70 cents. So your dollar go a little bit further with that. And then obviously you can mail merge. Mail merge just going to be able to put the names and addresses on each one without you manually changing up the letter and doing it. So it's a YouTube mail merge, and there's a ton of companies out there, a ton of videos you can go watch, and it'll teach you exactly how to do that. So that's what we used to do when we used to do our own mailers. We used to do yellow letters. But higher return, the reason why we did it, higher return. Handwritten, more personable, higher return. They're more likely to open it. Who sent me this? Who took their time to write on this piece of paper? Let me read it.